Welcome to Fresh on 947. This week, National Geographic's Brain Games is on 947. We'll throw out a brain-teasing question, and if you can solve it, you could win a share of 25,000 Rand. Here's today's question. What is the question, Mansui?
Can you give the question?
I shall give the question. How many liters of jet fuel do you think it takes to fill a jumbo jet? Would you say it's more or less than 50,000 liters? Now, think of an actual figure, and please don't Google it. If you think you have the correct answer, send us a WhatsApp right now with your name, ID number, and the answer to 061 4947 947.
So you want to go through question again quickly?
How many liters of jet fuel do you think it takes to fill a jumbo jet? Would you say more or less than 50,000 liters? Now think of an actual figure and send that to us, and you could win 5,000 Rand in cash. Also, you can watch Gillan Gork play Brain Games with us on the 947 Facebook page in about 10 minutes' time. Brain Games, brought to you by National Geographic, DSTV Channel 181. Ladies and gentlemen, the champ is in the building. Gillan has presented for international companies, business organizations, and government agencies in 30 countries across Europe, Africa, Asia, and America, and is the author of the best-selling book, Persuasion Games. You might need it this Valentine's week. With 2 decades experience as a professional mentalist, Gillan creates unique learning experiences that help people unleash their influence. He teaches how to apply a working knowledge of influence and persuasion to real-life practical situations to be able to lead, sell, negotiate, market, and inspire on a new level. Ladies and gentlemen, I last interviewed him 8 years ago at 5FM. We meet again, and I still feel like he can read my mind. Gillan Gork is in the building.
What's up?
How you doing, brother?
Oh, brilliant, man. What a great start to the year.
Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So I last saw you about 8 years ago. What's been happening in your life over the past 8 years since?
Wow. I saw you around 2012 when I had my national theatre tour called Beyond the Mind.
Yes, sir.
And that was very much around demonstrating mentalist feats. That's reading people, what they're thinking, not in a psychic way, because I'm not psychic.
I've been honestly trying to block you out of my brain this whole time since you sit down here. I don't know what you're going to do.
Well, listen, if you really meant that, you'd have tinfoil around your head.
Yeah, like a little...
You haven't tried very hard, I've arrived at corporate events where everyone's got tinfoil over their head, and it's very sweet. But yeah, I've moved a lot into the expert industry, so kind of the brain games that we're talking about today.
Sure.
And presented, for the likes of NATO would be a career highlight since I last saw you, which is great.
Did you get them to invade Libya? Well, it wasn't you.
I cannot confirm nor deny.
There it is.
I was about to say, get
There
out.
it is.
TV show on National Geographic, Brain Games. What is that?
Brain Games is a really fun show where you're going to see a lot of people, including some of the biggest celebrities, who play games in a studio. And often these games have to do with the brain, how the brain misleads us, how the brain perceives things, and so much more. And it's really fascinating because it really speaks to our experience of life. And you learn a lot about how our brains actually work through the games that they play. It's highly entertaining.
Can you apply your teachings to find a mate or a soulmate? This week being Valentine's.
I think that when it comes to love, of course, there is a lot of influence and persuasion involved, like anything in life, right? So I think that the better you are at influencing, the luckier you're going to get at finding love.
Tell us more.
Tell us more.
So perhaps the brain game that we're playing today could be applied to that. We'll see.
Can you teach someone or teach yourself to counter someone that comes with your teachings?
So if I'm up against another mentalist, can I counter them?
Oh, yes. Or can you teach me, for instance, or can you teach a woman to have her BS detector on all the time? Because more often than not, that's what we come with, BS.
Yeah, it's like if you play chess really often, you look at chess grandmasters, they can just look eventually, they just look at a chessboard and they immediately can see what to do. We become used to patterns once we know how things work. So 100%, if you learn how influence and persuasion works, you can prevent people in any kind of context from manipulating you in
So it's
in
like the
bad
art
ways.
of war almost.
In a sense, but I don't like to think of influence as war. You know, influence
This is war, sir.
And it has been declared.
All is fair in love and war, I suppose. Isn't that apt?
Absolutely. We're hanging out with Gillan Gork. We're playing National Geographic brain games. And we've sent out a question.
Yeah.
What are we trying to do here with this question?
Well, I just want people, without trying to analyze too much, without Googling,
Yes.
to just go with their gut instinct of, you know, how many liters of jet fuel they believe takes to fill a jumbo jet, you know,
Okay.
more or less than 50,000, but actually come to an actual figure in your mind. So,
Okay.
you know, and then send that in to us.
So if I
And
think it's 21,500, then I must send that.
it can be as specific as you like. It doesn't have to be a round number. And absolutely, when we reveal the answer, that perhaps there'll be a lot more to it that will play, you know, games with your brain, I suppose.
Oh, wow. I can't wait.
Hashtag 947 loves you. National Geographic also loves you. We'll be back with the answer and your 5,000 Rand. We're playing Brain Games, National Geographic, DSTV Channel 181. Earlier, we asked you a brain teasing question. If you've WhatsApped us the correct answer, we could be giving you 5,000 Rand right now. Gillan Gork, expert mentalist, best-selling author, corporate speaker, and founder of the Influenced Institute, is also in studio to explain how you got to the close answer that you might have gotten to and how or why you would get it wrong.
And I think before we get to the answer or revealing the answer that we got,
Yeah.
you are going to be launching a new online challenge on Wednesday. Tell us more about that and how it works. How can people get involved?
Yeah, so it's actually really exciting, you know, talking about the brain. It's called the High Performance Mentality Self-Influence Challenge. It's for 14 days, where there's a 15-minute mental training exercise that I do with you through your phone, either in the morning or the evening. You would do it.
Is this free?
And it's absolutely free.
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah. So you would just need to go to self-influence.com.
Okay.
And you put in your details, and then I'll send you information about it. And at the end of it, it helps you to develop better focus, better concentration, better discipline, control over your emotions, because our emotions impact our high performance in a huge way. And so I teach you, help you flex that mental muscle and build that ability.
And often we forget that it's a muscle. If we don't train it, it stops performing eventually.
Exactly.
So we asked the question earlier on, how many liters of jet fuel do you think it takes to fill a jumbo jet? Would you say more or less than 50,000 liters? Now think of an actual figure and no Googling. Majority of you said more or less, but didn't give us a figure. Do you have voice notes, okay?
National Geographic's Brain Games with Fresh on 947. Your chance to challenge your brain and win 5,000 Rand.
And we have Karabo on the line. Karabo, how are you doing?
Hello, Presidency.
Hey, Karabo.
You're one of the few people that bothered to give us a number. Most people said it's more or less. So well done, Karabo.
A plus.
Yes, A+ for thinking.
So, what figure did you arrive at?
I got to 55,431 liters.
Yo.
Pretty specific.
Sure.
And we did say don't Google it, which helps.
And
Yes,
we
which I
said
did not.
think of an actual figure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Gillan?
Yeah, great. All right, do you want me to reveal the actual answer?
The answer and generally why
like so-
people would think whether it's more or less.
All right,
What's the brain doing?
So what's really interesting about this experiment is that depending on how we ask the question, it actually anchors your answer in a specific way. So when I do this in live venues, so
Yeah.
for example, I went to a conference where they wanted me to try influence people through text message. It was actually
Sure.
through a messenger bot. Half the people, we asked it exactly the same way. So do you think it's more or less than 50,000 liters? And then actually give us a figure. For the other half, we said, do you think it's more or less than 500,000 liters? And then we asked the same, give us an actual figure. And the people who had the question posed as 50,000, the average was actually a little bit more at around 86,000 liters.
Wow.
And the people who we asked 500,000, their answers were actually around 380,000 liters. So in psychology, oh, and by the way, the real answer is actually 220,000 liters.
Wow.
But this is in psychology. This is a principle called anchoring. And it's one of the most well-researched and well-documented principles of psychology, where you're able to actually distort people's ability to estimate unknown numbers by first throwing out a number yourself.
Oh, yes.
Now, you see this all the time in life. Like, think of a salary negotiation, right? So research has actually shown that if somebody says, well, how much do you feel you should earn, or what salary do you want to take home? If you actually give a range, with the bottom of the range, so if you said something like, you know what, in the market, most people with this kind of position would earn between X and Y. X being what you actually want to get, Y being much higher, and you're anchoring at that high amount. So you actually will land up getting, in most cases, a better salary. Or if somebody tries to lowball anchor you and they say, hey, X amount, and it's really low, you have to immediately counter the anchor by saying something quite strong, like, you know what, we're actually oceans apart on this.
Yes.
But if you throw out a figure, even if it's in a different context,
Yeah.
If we have time, I'll tell you of a really interesting way that...
In fact, speaking of figures, and then what if she says, honey, do I look fat in these jeans? How does anchoring work there?
Well, you better anchor your feet to the ground because you're in for a hurricane, that's for sure.
Karabo, congratulations. You've won yourself 5,000 Rand in cash. Thanks to Brain Games on National Geographic, DSTV channel 181. Enjoy your money, Karabo.
Yep.
Oh, well, thank you.
Gillan, before we let you go, where's your website? What can we look forward to on Brain Games?
So my website is gillangork.com, like the city of Milan in Italy, but with a G, gillangork.com. And that influence challenge is self-influence.com if you want to get involved. And of course, Brain Games, which is so enjoyable. I know you actually get love it every Friday, 7 p.m. on National Geographic, channel 181.
Okay.
And in fact, there's even mentalists on that show as well. So it's going to be a good watch.
Tomorrow we play another game for 5,000 Rand.
Can't wait.
So we're doing this all week.
We're doing this all week.
It's going to be so much fun.
5,000 Rand every single day this week at this time. Ladies and gentlemen, Gillan Gork is about to think his way out of here.
Now, for your chance to win, listen out tomorrow for another brain teasing question. WhatsApp your number, then stay listening to find out if you're a winner and to hear the science behind the answer. Brain Games with Fresh on 947. It was brought to you by National Geographic, DSTV, channel 181.
If you love Joburg,
947 loves you.